there a difference between man and certain animals? After all, we have many biological qualities that are similar. We eat, we have to go to the bathroom, we drink, we sleep. We have many similar qualities, yet many think that it isn't only a question of being slightly more intelligent or basically more intelligent. There's much more. Take a look around you. What have human beings done? Look at cities. Look at the development that human beings have brought about to this world. We can produce now enough food to feed everybody. There was a fear at certain time in history that if there would be more human beings, nature wouldn't be able to provide for us all. But nowadays we know that that isn't so, really. We can provide for everybody. But especially nowadays, look at the internet. Look at WhatsApp, Wi-Fi. Look at the telephone. Listen, this telephone is something marvelous. It can do anything you really want. Would you say that we are just a little bit more intelligent than a chimpanzee? I think that the difference is altogether of a different order altogether. For the religious person, the Bible says that man was created in the image of God. What does that mean? Well, according to some, it is the ability to talk, to speak. God gave him the ability to say something, and it is a way of communicating ideas between human beings. Listen, you can make signs and so on, you can scream, you can do certain things to express certain emotions, but it isn't the same as words. Words, you can communicate stories, you can communicate entire thoughts. Words themselves are capable of producing newer thoughts. It's a tremendous thing. Others say, you know what? It is freedom. God can do whatever he wants. Man is limited in his freedom, but he has freedom. In other words, an animal has to behave a certain way. Man can choose. Man has the ability to choose about his actions. Of course, there are certain psychological schools that say, nah, that's nonsense. In our genes, we have all the instructions in survival and God knows what. But I don't subscribe to that. I think man has possibility of making choices. Somebody once said, you know what the difference between man and animal is? Man can say no. You present him with a piece of cake that he loves, and he's on a diet, and he can say, no, I am not going to eat that cake. The ability to say no. An animal can't do that. One of my sons comes to visit me many a time together with his dog. His dog is forever hungry. No matter, he had just eaten, he had just given him food in the home before he came. But he comes here, he's right there, throw him anything, he's forever hungry. But man can say no when he wants to, when he decides, when there's a moral issue. There's a woman that he wants, but, he shouldn't. For many reasons, maybe it's somebody else's wife, maybe he's married, whatever it is. The ability to say no, to put a stop to his desires, to his instinct, maybe that is the quality that separates really man from other creatures in this world. Well, there are many things. In other words, I think maybe it's a combination of everything. It's a question of intelligence. It's a question of morality. It's a question of being responsible for others. You can say an animal is also responsible for another animal. But is an animal responsible for a whole group? Is an animal responsible for society? Does an animal feel responsibility for the entire animal species? I think there's a difference not only in quantity, it's quality. It's of a different order altogether. What do you think? Are we basically animals? Maybe sometimes we behave like animals. I don't say no. But on the other hand, we have the possibility of behaving in a different way. So make sure that your behavior, what you do, really separates you from other creatures in this world and brings you closer to the Almighty, brings you closer to values that are really eternal, to morals that are imperatives in this world. Think about it. What do you think?